Hey, book club. Writers, readers, whoever, today I am talking about my top 5 tips for beta readers. I'm in the middle of my beta reading process for my untitled Dyson project right now. Dyson is a character who shows up in my second novel, Dominion Required, and is mentioned in my first one, and now she's getting her own book. Right now that book is out into the world, people are judging my soul, and I am anxiously awaiting their approval. I actually did get one person who read it super quick, which was nice, and now the other ones are kind of trickling in, but I wanted to share with you the top 5 things I made sure I had done before I sent the book out. Number 1, I made sure I was never bored reading my novel. I said this in my last video. If you're bored editing your novel, your reader is going to be bored at that exact same spot. So make sure you're trimming any fat you need to, and if you're never bored, you know you're ready to send it to some beta readers. I actually did this with a text-to-speech app, text edit on my MacBook. I exported it as an audio file and listened to it on like 1.8 speed or something like that. Burned through the book because like it is repetitive to read your book over and over and over again, but it was also like so exhilarating to have it as a full novel. Like I just listened to it and I made very minor corrections throughout on that last draft, but I felt so confident sending my book to beta readers after I did that. Tip number 2, collect as many people as you can to be beta readers. I posted on my Instagram asking people to send me their email if they wanted to be a beta reader for my Dyson project. I got 20 emails. That was about a week and a half ago, and I've had 7 people respond so far. I think that's okay. That's an okay percentage. I'll send out a reminder email, but I also don't want to be super annoying. If people don't want to read my book, I'm not going to try and force them to, because that's going to make the experience less enjoyable, and I might not be getting honest feedback then because they're just annoyed with me. Tip number 3, decide how you want to do this. Do you want to send out your full manuscript? Do you want to send it out in chunks? Maybe split it in half? Remember, you're not going to get responses from everybody you send it to. So if you do want to send out your entire novel and then get the whole thing back, I still suggest sending out your first 1 to 5 chapters with your initial email to beta readers, and if they respond, send out the rest of your novel. There's no point in sending out your novel to a billion people who are never going to read it. You want to know as early as possible how many people you're going to get. Maybe you need to look for more. Maybe you don't and you have 20 or 30 or however many, which leads me into tip number 4, decide what questions you're asking. I sent my Dyson novel out in chunks between 3 and 6 chapters. With each chunk, I sent out a questionnaire. I never had any more than 10 questions per chunk of the novel, and they were all specifically pertaining to what was happening in those 3 to 6 chapters. You need to do this for your book. If you're sending it out chapter by chapter, 2 chapters at a time, or your entire book, know how you want to ask questions and what questions you want to ask about the story. You do this by figuring out what's important to you in your story, what points you really want to hit, and asking about those moments. Of course, you could always ask for general feedback, and I did that at the end in my final questionnaire. I send out 3 to 6 chapters with a questionnaire. As soon as I get it back, I send out the next 3 to 6 chapters with a questionnaire because I have all my questions already done. You can read those questions on my website at HS Paisley. There's a downloadable file there that you're welcome to use and customize to your story. And tip number 5, don't take the feedback personally. Not only is not everyone your target audience, not everybody's gonna love what you do. As a matter of fact, if everybody loves the thing you're saying, you're not saying anything interesting. The points where you pay attention, not take it personally, but pay attention, is where all your beta readers are saying the same thing. If all or most of your beta readers are saying a part of your story doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter how much you love it, you gotta let it go. And that's probably the toughest part. But as you're going through that process, remember, they're judging your book, not your soul. Though it feels like they're judging your soul, they are not. Hopefully these people are all strangers. They don't know you, which is why they're not pulling their punches, which is why you can really listen to what they're saying. But they're not judging you, they're judging your book. The last thing to really keep in mind is that they're judging a book that isn't finished yet. They're helping you make it better. Maybe they see some weaknesses that you don't, and your book is going to be better for it in the long run. Have fun with this part of the process. Be generous. These people are doing this for you for free and telling you how to make it better. Thank them for it. Ask them follow-up questions. You're almost there. I hope these tips were as helpful for you as they were for me. This is my first time going through the beta reading process this way. On Dominion Required and Magic Required, I just sent out the entire book, and I much prefer small chapter chunks because then I can ask specific questions about things that happen in each of those sections and whether or not they they work. I can also then survey how somebody's opinion of a character changes over the course of the book, where that change happens or where maybe I want it to happen and it doesn't. Like I said, all those questions are on my website. Feel free to download them. I wish you guys all the best of luck with your writing, and until next time, may the force be with you. Live long and prosper, and keep writing your story.
I pictured her face in my head. Stern, masculine features. She looked familiar, something to do with the news, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Arlington and Metcalf, I said again, swinging my legs out of bed. That's a start. I stood in the alcove of a tall building, a few doors down from the corner where I had dreamed a woman would be. My eyes scanned the crowd. The sun was barely up, and the mass of suit-clad pedestrians was not as thick as in my dream. She wouldn't be here yet. I waited. After about 10 minutes, I saw her. A head of brown hair and a business-like bun, and eyes turned down to her phone. Bright red lips, cream-coloured skin. No, not her.